Trump bans travel to the U.S. from 12 countries. Did that just happen? Guys, what's going on here? Let's go ahead and find out the exact countries. Depending on what they are, it would make sense. Let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. Let's hit the button.
Breaking overnight, there are two major headlines coming from the White House showing you and indicating where the president's focus is right now. Travel ban and Biden. Let's explain. President Trump just signed a new travel ban blocking people from 12 countries in the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean from entering the United States, citing what he calls national security threats. A White House official tells CNN the president made the final call here to issue the ban after the anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect, an Egyptian national, has been charged with a federal hate crime and attempted. Egypt, though, is not on the banned list this time. Trump announced the new move in an Oval Office video.
Let's jump into it, guys.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
So this really is a throwback to one of the messiest chapters of Trump's first term. His travel ban then barred entry into the United States from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. And you'll remember it set off a wave of legal challenges. It was put on hold, it was revised, and then eventually repealed under President Biden. TBD on what happens now as he resurrects this policy. And speaking of Biden, he's at the center of that other big headline I mentioned from overnight. Trump has now directed the Justice Department to investigate Biden's actions as president.
That's fair. That's completely fair. Like, this was absolutely a terrible show, let's call it, guys. All right. Let's just be honest here. The most amount of illegal immigrants at one singular time, like within one, candidate's run, in our modern times, at least, right? Think about that for a second. That's crazy, right? The amount of money that was also spent on a gigantic amount of these sanctuary cities, also an issue here, guys. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't say that he did a good job here, guys. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I understand that Biden, what he was doing, instead of actually, help fixing the actual issue, the Band-Aid, or putting a Band-Aid on the actual border itself, he was going into the countries and attempting to facilitate change, let's say, for whatever the reason was that these individuals were coming, but he wasn't actually stopping them from coming. But I think we need to do a good mix of both, personally. Figure out what the reason is. If we have to put money to fix it, let's do that so we can stop spending money here specifically, and then getting in, some of the worst of the literal worst that we can actually pull into our country here, guys. Right? Again, not saying that every single person that's come through this border is going to commit some type of a secondary or tertiary offense. Not the case here. But the ones that are actually coming in, I think, less than 5%. Are the ones absolutely making it terrible for the other 95%, guys. Okay, like, you're not going to get much public outcry or support if you've come in. You're not going to commit a secondary offense, but these other people are coming in and absolutely bringing in their nonsense, guys. All right, you're not going to get much of a public outcry, but the left will love it, obviously, though. But let's continue.
Justice Department to investigate Biden's actions as president. Trump's latest fixation is attacking his predecessor is Biden's use of an auto pen to sign policy documents, citing Biden's alleged, quote, cognitive decline. The former president has responded to this, calling the accusations and the investigation, quote, ridiculous and false. CNN's Elena Treen is at the White House. Let's get to both. Let's start with the travel ban. What are you learning about this?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is something that we know that President Donald Trump had been thinking about wanting to do for a while. But a White House official tells us, Kate, that essentially that attack in Boulder, the anti-Semitic attack, really sped things up. And that's why you saw him sign that proclamation yesterday evening. Now, the White House has been saying that this is because they believe that having travel from these different countries is a national security.
Okay, let's get it. Okay, so Afghanistan, I see that. Burma. Yep. Okay, so hold on. Down this list here, Eritrea is basically North Korea of Africa, so that also makes sense, guys. I'm telling you this right now. Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Haiti. Yeah, makes sense, guys. If these are the places on here, absolutely. But I also did hear that there was mention of overstaying of visas, guys. I live half the year in Europe, and I can definitely tell you that a good amount of people from Europe are overstaying their visas also. I don't see any singular European country here.
Threat, but you pointed this out as well. This travel ban that we saw him sign goes way farther than the ban that he signed during his first term. This one has 12 countries in it. A couple include Afghanistan, Myanmar,
Yeah, these are
known as Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo.
We should have been had this.
Haiti, Iran, the list goes
guys.
on for full restrictions of nationals who can come into the United States from those countries. And then there's another 7 countries, Kate, where they face partial travel restrictions.
Turkmenistan,
Cuba,
most likely.
Sierra Leone, Venezuela. Again, the list goes on.
Yeah, Turkmenistan.
Now, we did hear the president in that video that you shared. He also said that other countries could be added to this list if he believes that they are threats to the United States. Take a listen to how he put it.
We cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm.
Now, Kate, this proclamation includes, I think this is important to know, includes exceptions for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, certain visa categories, and individuals whose entry serves U.S. national interest. It goes into effect 12:01 a.m. on June 9th.
Now, let's move to the Biden investigation that the president just directed the Department of Justice to conduct. What is this all about?
Yeah, I mean, this memo that he signed as well yesterday is pretty striking. I mean, look, it comes as the president for weeks now, and I've been hearing this repeatedly in my conversations with White House officials, has been fixated on the former president's use of the auto pen.
Trump uses the auto pen.
Essentially, perhaps if he's on a different part of the country, he's out of the country, needs to sign documents, different orders, they can use an automated version of his signature on some of these different orders. And that's been something that has really gotten under the president's skin. And yesterday we saw him direct his Justice Department as well as his White House counsel to open an investigation into this. But it actually goes further than that as well, Kate, in the sense that it asks the Justice Department to investigate if people around Biden were purposefully and knowingly shielding his mental state from the public. So
Yes. I get it. It's alleged. It's absolutely alleged here. But guys, no, there was a problem. There was a problem the whole time. Understand that there were leaked, like small cards of photos of the direction in the hall he had to walk down, guys. All right, just understand, there were issues here. Okay, let's stop acting like, there wasn't an issue. Again, guys, there's nothing wrong with aging gracefully, right? Not a single thing. I mean, bro, these are 2 elderly men here, guys. Obviously, Trump is a little bit more, present still, right? But I wouldn't say he's going to be that present for much longer. Let's just be completely honest here. But in terms of Biden was gone. He was gone. It almost seemed like a setup, like hoping that Biden would basically, potentially fall within his presidency, and then Kamala would have just been let into the door here, right? CNN would love that. They would have loved that, guys, right? To be honest here. But yeah, that's what it felt like. I think every single person, for the most part, that was around him recognized that there was a problem, but they said nothing. That's my personal opinion here, guys.
This could be a very messy investigation as we see it unfold over the next couple of weeks. Kate?
Absolutely. Elena, thank you very much from the White House for us this morning.
Joining me now in the group chat, Phil Mattingly, CNN anchor and chief domestic correspondent, Michael Warren, senior editor at The Dispatch, and Sabrina Singh, former deputy Pentagon press secretary. All right, first I want to start with you, Phil, because I feel like you have had such a good beat on how the White House has been thinking this time around. This seems like something that Stephen Miller et al. Will make sure is more airtight legally than the first time around.
I think that's been demonstrated by the process they went through to reach to this point, the State Department decision or review that was done in advance, the efforts that were made to try and establish the legal underpinning before they actually made this move. I think it's really important to understand. We all think back on the travel ban in the first term.
Yeah, it was like
And
one of their first things out of the gate.
it was a mess. It was
Yeah.
a disaster, and Sean Spicer was trying to explain it, and the airports were a complete chaotic disaster as well. What people don't remember from the first term is they actually ended up getting a version of the travel ban implemented and signed off on by the courts, including the Supreme Court. And that underscored a process that I think has just been so formative to everything they've done in these first 4 or 5 months. They learned.
Yeah.
They learned, and they understood, okay, we can't do it this way. The court said that's a problem, we're going to fix
Which
that.
is why we're probably, and then at the same time, that doesn't stop there from being legal problems, but it's a different approach. You guys, let me take it to this side. What are you thinking this time around with this list of countries, for example, or in approach?
Well, I mean, they're saying that this wasn't in response to the attack that happened in Boulder, but yet, you know, it comes just days after that attack in Boulder, and that.
Yeah, it's obviously not, though, because again, if Egypt specifically is not on that list, then it's not. I think that this was probably in the pipeline, for a while once they started to realize that there are countries specifically outside of the United States of America that really do not keep, very good track of their citizens, and they just basically could be paid to say whatever they needed to say. Like, I mean, there were a couple of embassies in New York specifically that were making up whatever needed to be made up for you to basically get in, if you could pay enough money. There were a couple of instances of that, like last year, guys.
That
Come on.
individual was from Egypt, and Egypt is notably not on that list of
So you don't think
countries
this
that
is
are
sitting in
banned.
a drawer somewhere? It feels like they've been waiting.
Yeah, this is sitting
and
in the
waiting
drawer,
on
bro.
it. And I think to Phil's point, they've really taken their time and been more precise. I think this is going to immediately come to the courts. There's going to be a
I
challenge.
agree with all of these countries.
Let's see what happens, but it's going to play out in the legal system as
So
well.
the American Immigration Council weighing in, saying these travel bans do nothing to make us safer or more prosperous. They harm our economy and indiscriminately punish immigrants who otherwise qualify to come. And I raise this because some of these are war-torn areas. Like it's not exactly like an influx of people coming here,
They're
especially
not.
given asylum laws. So what does this
Absolutely.
accomplish?
I don't know, because the justifications so far are kind of a little all over the place. Right, this whole idea of a visa overstay problem, which is clearly a real problem, and we
Right, it
have
is.
to look to Boulder to see it. I mean, that's.
But is it even from these countries?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my thing here. Okay, like, I mean, if you want to talk about the visa overstaying, guys, generally the ones who can afford to get the plane ticket in the first place successfully and then have a couple of dollars basically left over are the ones who are going to generally overstay. And some of those countries that normally are doing that, based off of my experience and encountering people all over Europe specifically, I don't see any of these countries. Right? I'm just going to be completely honest here. I'm not trying to be that guy out here, right? But I definitely don't see Europe. Any places in Europe. I can give you a couple of countries where that's kind of all the thing is, right? You encounter someone, I lived in America for a year, then I left, but I can't go back. That type of thing, guys. The amount of people that I've encountered that have overstayed their visa from any insert any random European country is crazy, actually. I'm not sure that someone from the Congo, if they can afford to pay the ticket based off of the differences in currency, okay, I'm not sure that they're overstaying. I'm gonna be honest, because that means they're doing very well in their country, specifically the Congo, Eritrea. Most of the people that have entered, first of all, most of the people that have entered into the United States of America with some type of Eritrean passport, they're running for their lives, guys. All right, I want you guys to deeply research Eritrea. What is Eritrea? Eritrea is the hermit kingdom of Africa, guys. All right. They're running for their lives.
Well, this is my point. I mean, I think it is a solution that was waiting for an opportunity to be unleashed. That's, I think, what the Trump administration was looking to do with this.
That's valid.
Immigration requires a lot of resources for enforcement. It's really hard, actually, to find people who are here who have overstayed their visas or who are otherwise are here and should not be here. And I think the administration is finding themselves, unable to do what they had thought they might be able to do in terms of that enforcement.
Right, and I think they're even looking at a massive hiring effort, basically, to supplement.
I think they're looking to kind of deal these things out as ways of saying, hey, look, we're doing something, because the actual work of it is actually pretty hard.
Well, one thing it has been effective as is changing the world's sort of view of the U.S. as a welcoming place. But here's an example from a top Venezuelan official who says being in the U.S. is, quote, a big risk for anyone, not just Venezuelans. If you're really that foolish, then go to the United States. They're supremacists who think they own the world and persecute our people for no reason.
Okay, I hear you. Don't care. Not like I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you why I don't care. Like what you're saying, okay, is specifically coming from a perspective of your country that has failed, completely failed, and your citizens are now flooding our southern border, and you're surprised, okay, that we're just like, hey guys, we cannot take your whole country. We cannot take your entire country in ours because you allowed whatever government to basically take hold specifically to fail your people. Okay, you're calling us specifically supremacists. Is interesting. We're Americans, guys, right? This is our country. What's wrong with that? Do the same thing for your country. Hopefully, you do have some type of nationalist mentality, at least when it comes to your country. Have some patriotism, bro. Like you're calling patriotism supremacist. Okay. We have the largest military. Okay, we protect our interests around the world. You're calling us a this is I don't care, guys. I mean, I see it and I'm just like, what do you want us to say? What do you want me to say to this? That's my initial response after hearing this for the first time, guys. Okay, persecute our people for no reason. I mean, if you didn't flood our southern border, I'm confused why, guys. What do you mean by that? maybe I'm misreading this and mishearing. Let me go from the top again. Being in the U.S. is a big risk for anyone, not just Venezuelans. I don't really see much of the risk, bro. I'm American. Okay. Either way, if you're really that foolish, then go to the United States. They are supremacists who think they own the world. And persecute our people for no reason. The problem, guys, I don't think we own the world. Don't ask us for help. Right? Like if you don't want us in your business, don't ask us to protect your country, right? I mean, I get it with the world's police. Is that a great thing? No, I would definitely hope that we can back away from that, right? But if the planet did not rely on our military might at the rate that they do, then you know what? Guess we wouldn't have to be in your country, right? Maybe don't take our citizens' tax dollars for any of your, the things that are required in your country for your own people, right? Maybe don't take our tax dollars, bro. Right? What do you think about that? But all right, let's continue.
I think it's an important statement because that's a feature, not a bug for this administration. And I think the mistake people make when they look at individual policies is not understanding that this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is part of a significant kind of
reorientation
of effort to try and invert a system. We're not trying to welcome people in. We're trying to make people prove why they should be here in terms of the U.S. government. And it's something that starts on, they know who's working at the consular level in these countries. And if they don't feel like they're allied with that version of how we do immigration, they want them out. And when you think, well, that's pretty granular, that's pretty ground level for the federal government, the West Wing, the White House to know about. No, they know about it. And personnel from that level all the way to the West Wing is part of this consideration, as is every single thing they've been rolling out over the course of the last 12 months.
I love that you said that. I want to underscore something you said. It's not just about keeping people out. It's making them prove why they should be here. And I think that's like a nuance sometimes people don't hear when they think about these bills.
Is this CNN, guys?
Breaking over.
Guys, wait a second. Something has changed with CNN. I'm just going to be honest here. This is probably the most coherent video you guys have ever sent me from CNN. I'm just going to be completely honest here. A lot of it is just like emotions, feel this because, we are morally superior type of thing. That was not this here. This was obviously just purely logic here, guys. I'm surprised that they even aired this. I'm going to be honest here. I am absolutely surprised. All right? Respect, no complaints. Yeah, basically. Right? It's not about you not being able to come here, but you need to understand, bro, can you be here? You get what I'm saying here? Like certain countries have, a certain amount of time they can actually spend in the United States of America, and some other countries can't, right? They spend a lot less time or a little bit more time, right? Pretty much based off of how many of their citizens are basically known for overstaying their visas, right? Like if you come into the country from a country specifically where you have like, bro, 70% of the people that are leaving your country to come to the United States of America overstay your visa, don't be surprised. What are you expecting? Yes, okay. What are you you're the ones that keep getting caught. What are you expecting? Right? Just prove you have the ability to be here and go back to your country. Let's say when you're coming here exclusively on vacation, bro. We should not have to take care of you. You wonder why we're upset as Americans, bro? You can't be that like dense, bro. Like, listen, the issue or everything that happened in your life, if it was terrible, I apologize for it, right? But just because you feel, you don't want people to go through terrible things, right? But that's not our responsibility. It's not at all our responsibility. Now, guys, when it comes to like refugees, I have not a single issue on the planet with a refugee, bro. If we can help you, you're coming from something terrible. Your family's about to get packed up, basically. Let me help you, bro. I got you. Don't worry. You can come in. Everything is good, right? No problems. But the ones who try to undercut our system and specifically do some type of like asylum fraud, and they're just here for the sole purpose of economic migrancy, but yet they know 80 to 90% of the individuals that have come here claiming asylum have lied, right? That they're just here to make money and send money back to their country for the sole purpose of remittance, right? To the point where the rate of citizens leaving X country, okay, and sending money back to X country is starting to show up on their GDP, bro. All right, we have an issue. Okay, they're not coming here to like join the society of people here. They're not large scale, right? And it is pretty much indicative when you start to realize there are neighborhoods around insert city that don't speak English, bro. They're not trying to assimilate, bro. They're trying to keep their culture, make our money, and send our money back to their country. That's the goal, right? They're not, and that seems to be the overall thing here. All right. If you come, enjoy, bro. Like join. You give it. I'm not even angry like that. Don't come illegally. That's a no. You immediately lose me when your first act in the United States of America is basically trespassing. It's illegal, bro. Right? You lose me when you do that. Okay, and I'm definitely someone who has immigrated into multiple countries legally. I've never been inside of a country illegally. I don't understand why that. If you can't specifically afford, right, to go through the process, or you don't have the knowledge, let's say, to even fill out all the paperwork yourself without hiring a lawyer, bro, you didn't do your research when you came. That's like the first thing you do when you go to another country. I can't feel bad, bro. Again, when it comes down to the concept of immigration, I have not a single issue in the world. Migrancy, no issue, as long as it's legal. All right, because you lose me and a lot of other people when the first act you commit in the United States of America is trespassing on our border. You lose me, bro. All right, but all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. All right.